If Bethesda made Cyberpunk 2077, oh boy. Holy shit. Oh no. Starfield is getting shit on, isn't it? On Steam. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is that that game, man. Have you seen the reviews? Have you seen the negative shit about the game? It's so mental. It's so funny. When you look at the reviews, it's not like when Cyberpunk came out the first, right? When it was all janky and bad, people are complaining about things that make sense to complain about, I think. There's a lot of things about Cyberpunk at the time that was just unacceptable, and not to mention that they were lying when they released the game and all these things. People are getting mad about Starfield, about things that we knew are gonna be in a game. They're like complaining about shit like, well, the constant loading screens is one thing. I fully expected Bethesda to do that, despite the fact that the game and technology today is so good that this doesn't need to be happening anymore. They are still acting like we are running the game on Xbox 360. But there are other things. When you look at the reviews of Starfield, there's so many people that say that they couldn't finish the game because it was so boring. I'm actually one of those people. I mean, I didn't, stop playing the game because it was boring, but it was definitely boring when I stopped playing it. There's just other things that I needed to do, but it's true. I didn't finish Skyrim either. I didn't finish fucking Fallout when I think about it. But I didn't finish Fallout and Skyrim for different reasons than I didn't finish Starfield. I liked Starfield. I liked playing it. As an RPG, I liked it. But boy, can it not handle Cyberpunk. Bethesda got a bit lazy. If, for the reason that they just didn't have the time for it, if they wanted it that way, I don't know. Um, out of the planets you travel to, there is so many. There is so many planets, moons, all these different. There's so many systems, right? The way they handled that is that they made a lot of the individual buildings or cities, even, or the settlements, procedurally generated systems, right? So that means that you will find very often a lot of the buildings or even the NPCs to be exactly the same a lot. And that really pissed people off because you make a game like Starfield, game like Skyrim, game like Fallout, you make these games based off of we don't really mind the dialogue being bad, we don't really mind the story not being captivating, but fucking let us explore something for 100 hours. And Starfield, as the first game from Bethesda, Starfield was the first time they have dropped the ball on that. And I think they alienated the one part of the player base, global player base, that enjoys Bethesda games because they enjoy them for that one specific thing. And it was like 80% of the people who are playing games like Skyrim or Fallout. They all played Starfield because at least I can walk around endlessly in space. I can make my own starship, right? That works. A lot of people love that. But then you make the starship and you don't really have anywhere to go because where you are going doesn't make sense. It's not worth it. You are not actually exploring. What about the kids? Yeah, no, I've seen that too. I can't find the post on Reddit, but it's true. You have two kids, I think. You have two kids in the game, like as a main, not main, but like as a characters, as story characters in Starfield, and both of the kids are the same looking kids, like literally the same models. That's the type of problem Starfield has right now. And I don't even know if they're planning on fucking doing anything about it, if changing it. I don't know. Like it's insane. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, because that's one thing. It's like when you do the procedural generating thing with environment, I can understand that. I still don't think Bethesda should have done that, because they are big enough to not cut corners on it. But with NPCs, that's something else. That feels like they have legitimately just given up on working on the game. When you take Starfield the way it is now, which is impressive, I still think Starfield is impressive. When you compare it to other Bethesda games, Starfield is hella impressive. When you compare it to fucking Cyberpunk 2077, however, it's good 5 out of 10. And that's just facts, unfortunately. Even though Cyberpunk is an older game, even though Cyberpunk is much, much, much smaller game, uh, graphically, I still think Cyberpunk wins, but I might be biased on that. But like, even though Starfield is just bigger and in a lot of ways even a better game, it still falls so much shorter than a game like Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk has personality. So in Cyberpunk, you are playing as V. V is a merc. The only real option you get is in the gender, because you customizing your character literally doesn't matter. You basically get like, you only get to involve the looks of your character in Cyberpunk with the ending cutscenes, and that's it. In Starfield, you create the character ground up completely, and that's already detaching the player from the actual experience of RPG as it is. Now, when you include things like Starfield doesn't have the actual properties of, let's say, a D&D game, right? Where the dungeon master tells you exactly what the environment looks like, everything is unique, everything is reacting to each other, right? If you want to make a video game for $70 that is supposed to be acting like a D&D game, for example, but the environment is just this blank paper that basically just repeats the same pattern 300 times, right? Because every moon you land on is literally the same fucking thing. That's disheartening, and the only thing that you have left is either ignore it and just do whatever you wanna do, or you will be like, well, I will just do the main quests. And very often they want to discourage you from tunnel visioning the main quests. They want you to side questing, because the side questing makes Starfield go from 5-hour experience to 130-hour experience. That's what Bethesda wants. You will just be sitting on their game for as long as possible. So you should have better experience playing the game if you do a lot of side quests first, but the side quests suck ass. It's so bad. Even if the stories are not. I don't think the stories and the side quests of the game are bad at all. But it's just like, the game should be fun. Shooting the different things should be fun. Shooting the different weapons should be fun, right? Going from A to B, or to C if you are lucky, that should be fun. In this game it's not. You are just traveling the same environment with slightly different G-force. You are using your backpack too much. Half the perks don't work, or maybe they already fixed that, I don't know. But when I played Starfield, there's so many different perks that just didn't work, straight up didn't work. Very important perks that didn't work. And like all these things, even if you fix it, which I know Bethesda is not exactly famous for, even if you fix the things, the underlying issue is still there, and it's not gonna change. It's the fact that the game is just so bland because of this. But yeah, like, the funny part is they are blaming fucking Cyberpunk and all these things that people don't like and don't enjoy about Starfield. If you just go to Cyberpunk right now as a Starfield player, you will jizz your pants probably, because it's such a change of pace, of quality, of just enjoyment in general. It's incredible. It's insane. Like, when I played Starfield for the first time, I had a blast for like, I don't know how long did I play Starfield for? Let me check. I played Starfield for 60 hours. I wouldn't play a game for 60 hours if I didn't like it. And then fucking Phantom Liberty came out and I've never touched the game. I still have it installed. That's a big ass game to be taking up space on my disk. I still haven't uninstalled it because I still have the faith that I will one day want to play it. But ever since I played Phantom Liberty, I didn't have any inclination to fucking go back to that game because it's just like it just doesn't make sense in my brain to be playing a game like this. Still, you shouldn't compare the two, it's such different games. I mean, I agree with you. I think you are right. I don't think you should be comparing Starfield with Cyberpunk. It's just different takes on the same genre, right? That's how the industry is supposed to work. It's just I think the problem is that I think that if you asked anybody who played Cyberpunk as much as I did, I have almost 400 hours in that game. If you asked me if I wanted Cyberpunk to be the way it is right now, except with the scale of Starfield, I would say please don't do that. Because what ends up happening is you don't get that much more content. You get to stretch it out and it's gonna be just thin. You will thin out the content. Whereas if you crank it up, if you shrink that to the size of Night City in Cyberpunk, then that's ideal. You have all the fast traveling, there is no unnecessary loading screens. And I think people saw that. I think when Phantom Liberty came out, not only DLC, one of the best DLCs you will ever play in your life, it's way up there, right next to Blood and Wine, by the way. Like if you want to compare the DLCs from the same companies, Phantom Liberty, right next to Blood and Wine, very similarly in quality. It's like its own game almost, except it's inside the other game, right? When they released Phantom Liberty, they have also completely overhauled and upgraded the main game too, right? When Phantom Liberty came out, the entirety of Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and all of a sudden, if you compare that level of quality with Starfield, everybody knew they were not getting their money worth at all. And that's the main problem. That's why everybody blames Cyberpunk, because even though it, like, on its face, it's ridiculous to do that, the facts are they climbed from the shitter, right? They climbed from the ridiculously bad graphics, underperforming on PS4, all that stuff. They've worked their way up to like actually making Cyberpunk a ridiculously good game to play right now. Whereas, you know, Starfield is, relatively speaking, in the gutter comparatively. But I think if Bethesda works on it the same way CDPR worked on Cyberpunk, we would have different conversation. I think that people are just worried right now that unlike Bethesda, CDPR actually really wants the game to be the best version of itself, whereas I'm not sure if Bethesda is actually thinking like this, and maybe the fans don't believe it either. They just seen what could have been if Bethesda was CDPR, basically.